So yesterday I did a video where I talked about, the subject of who's going to benefit out of this historic double strike of the writers and the actors in Hollywood right now that's causing all of Hollywood and any place around the country, if not the world, associated with Hollywood, to shut down. And what I was talking about there, to clarify things, when I said, who is going to benefit, what I meant to say, and I know people heard me say it there, so I'll say it again just in case people misunderstood it or mistook it for something else. What I was saying there, ladies and gentlemen, what I was saying there is that those that will be the beneficiaries of this entire situation for the time being are going to be those that are not connected to any guilds whatsoever. Those are going to be the people that will benefit from this. And mostly, if you're right here on YouTube or on your platform like Dailymotion or VENMO or Twitch, or BitChute, I think I mentioned BitChute. If you're on any one of those kind of platforms, you yourself will benefit from this. Why? Because it's like what people or fellow content creators like Brittany Reacts have mentioned. Folks are going to want to look for content. They're going to want to look for something to fill in those gaps that they're used to having filled in on a weekly, daily, monthly basis by their favorite programs or favorite movies. They're going to want something to fill in those gaps, and guess what's going to fill it in? People like me, people like you, people like Doug Walker, James Wolfe, Lynn Cara, Louis Lovehog, Animat, of animation of Electric Dragon Productions, and basically of Animation Look Back. People like Huey Toonmore, people like Chris Moore, Rowdy C, TV Trash, Rob the Wonderful of Cartoon Clip Show. People like that are going to see an uptake in viewership numbers, an uptake in monetization, if you will, perhaps, and subscriptions, because there's going to be those out there that are going to want content to fill in their gaps. That is what they're going to want because of the content they're expecting to either go to the theaters and see or tune in and watch the season premieres of are not going to be there because of what's happening right now. And we're not the only ones. We're not alone in this. No. Other industries, other places that are not connected to any guilds are going to see an uptake as well. For example, pro wrestling, like WWE, AEW, MLW, Impact, New Japan, you name it, they will see an uptake in ticket sales, and they will see an uptake in viewership numbers, of the shows. They will see an uptake in buy rates, depending on whether or not they have a special event on pay-per-view. They will see an uptake in viewership numbers on the YouTube channels for the clips or full matches. They will see a lot of this occur, in a big way because of what's going on in Hollywood right now. They will. They will see that. The same with the MMA, UFC and Bellator and other promotions like them. They will see an uptake in viewership numbers, ratings, as well as, an uptake in viewership numbers with their YouTube clips and free full matches and all that on their YouTube channels. They will see that. Pro and college sports. We're going into the NFL and college football season this year. Depending on how long these strikes go, you will see an uptake in viewership and ticket sales for those events, for those games. You will see that. We're getting into the fall season for Major League Baseball, the second half of Major League Baseball, where we start really looking at what teams are going to make the playoffs. You're going to see viewership numbers locally, regionally, I should say, and nationally step up in a big way, and ticket sales for these games sell in a big way because people are going to want other alternative viewing or alternative entertainment, if you will, and enjoyment, because what they originally planned to watch and go to see is not going to be available or possible to see because of what's happening right now. That right there is an example of the beneficiaries outside of those here on YouTube, Dailymotion, VENMO, BitChute, Twitch, you name it. But they're not the only ones. You're also going to see an uptake, believe it or not, in comic book sales. That's right. I hear Geeky Sparkles and Neon, but mostly Neon, when they do videos in the comic book industry and everything, they talk about the downward spiral that it's going through, right? Well, that downward spiral, believe it or not, is going to come to an end. And what's going to happen is we're going to see a sudden uptake in sales from a digital and physical perspective, because people are going to want alternative entertainment. And part of that alternative entertainment is either buying and downloading a digital issue of a comic book series, or going out and buying or subscribing to said comic book series on a physical standpoint to have it in hand to keep yourself entertained, to fill in that gap. So the comic book industry, believe it or not, people thought it was down. Now it's suddenly going to see a massive uptake in the next few months. Believe it or not, they will. You don't believe me, just keep an eye out for that. They will see a massive uptake. And again, this is what I'm talking about by those that will benefit from this situation. Look, I'm not saying that I don't believe, and I think I mentioned this earlier, or I mentioned it in my second attempt doing the video, this is my third attempt. Look, I'm not saying that the actors and writers shouldn't get what they believe they are owed and deserve. I'm truly behind them in all this. I am. But because of the fact that they are striking right now and putting a lot of stuff on halt, if you will, television and movie production wise, because they're going on strike and causing that to happen, they are literally opening the door, if not knocking it straight on down, and allowing people like myself, content creators on platforms like YouTube, they're allowing things like pro wrestling, MMA, college and pro sports. They're allowing the comic book industry to get resurrected and get back to the forefront of what it is. They're allowing all this to happen because they're basically giving folks like you and me, an opportunity to seek out alternatives, for entertainment. That's what's going on. That's what I'm talking about by beneficiaries. I mean, heck, even independent filmmakers and artists who either are part of the guilds somewhat or not are going to see an uptake. And those that have signed a little bit of agreement that will allow them to continue filming, finishing the productions while this is going on. And because they're allowed to do that, they too will see an uptake, in interest in whatever projects they are finalizing or finishing up. They will see that. That's a positive that's going to be a huge beneficiary for them in the long run because of what's going on as we speak. So again, when I talk about, who is going to benefit from this entire situation, in closing, what I'm talking about is those like myself and you and others here on YouTube that monetize, their channel or get people to view the content because, you have various different interests. You're going to see an uptake. If you're doing it on BitChute or Dailymotion or VENMO or Twitch, you're going to see an uptake. You're going to be the beneficiaries of this entire situation. If you work in the comic book industry and you publish, comic books for physical or digital release, guess what? People say you're on a downward spiral, right now. Guess what? That downward spiral is going to come to an end and you're going to see a sudden uptake. You are going to see that. Like I said, the independent writers, the independent artists, some that might be part of these guilds, signing this little agreement, they're going to see an uptake in their projects once those are finished. People are going to get invested in those projects. They're going to see that. And television. Television is still going to be doing some new stuff. Daytime shows, soap operas because of, agreements of network codes and all that. They're going to see an uptake. And even reality television, if it's going to be relied on and everything, it's going to see an uptake as well. And heck, if Disney and, WB are doing what, doing what they're doing with some of their streaming exclusive shows and putting them on their network platforms like ABC and the CW, those shows are going to see an uptake as well. Because for those that don't have the streaming services, those shows are going to be new to them, and they're going to want to see what all the fuss is about. And who knows, they're going to probably see a massive surge in popularity, in those programming. They're going to see a massive uptake, and those shows are going to be the beneficiaries as well. So the point I'm getting at in closing is when I'm talking about those who will benefit, I'm talking about those that are not connected to any guilds whatsoever. I'm talking about those that are content creators on platforms like YouTube, combat sports or sports entertainment sports like pro wrestling and MMA and even boxing and Muay Thai, if you will. College and pro sports, a resurrection in the comic book industry, if you will, of physical and digital sales rising up, of comic book issues and graphic novels and trade paperbacks, daytime television, if you will, daytime television, unscripted television, all that is going to see an uptake. Gamer live streams on YouTube and Twitch, they're all going to see an uptake, all because of what's going on right now. And that's and that's what I mean by talking about who is going to benefit, in the long run right now when it comes to basically this historic double strike, the first one in 6 decades. That's what I'm talking about. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment below, live chat during the premiere, like the video. Super chats are open in the live chat during the premiere. You'll also get an audio version of this, of course, at my BW Rose's Discussions podcast, which you can listen to at all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. But more specifically, listen to it at Spotify. It would help me out greatly, guys, if you did listen to it there. But give me your thoughts. Do you think I'm onto something here about who I believe truly benefits from this? Let me know, and I'll talk to y'all later.